Well, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. And welcome to another Wellness Lifestyle Conference interview on Instagram. Today we have Susan Hayes, who is going to be joining us. I am just sending out the invite now. Uh, so we'll wait for that to come through. Susan is based in the States and should be joining us any second. I did see that she is online and she did message to say that she will be ready, so she should be joining us any second now, which we're very excited about. I'm also just noticing I'm not quite centered here. That looks a bit better. There is Susan. And I think, even better. Thank you, Susan, because we have had issues with when I send a request, it doesn't quite go through, so it's easier if somebody actually sends a request direct to me. All right, let's see if this comes through.
Hey,
there we go.
Stephen, how are you? Well, let me turn off my computer here, make sure there's no interference.
No.
Oh, because there's been interference lately.
I feel like that is the story of our lives at the moment. I am today juggling two PCs because my PCs decided massively. So I'm trying to set up a second laptop that my landlord was kind enough to loan me in the interim. And it's just, you don't realize how much stuff we accumulate, even digitally, and how many tools we
Yes,
use on a daily. Yeah, and then to
and
try and
this
get
is
it across, it's
you
like,
and my who's just joined us. Welcome. Can you hear me, Stephen?
ah, I can, yes, it's a little bit delayed. I'm just checking if I have open that's taking bandwidth, and I don't think I do. So I'm just double checking that everything is off. Looks like it is, so that should be good. But yes, you were saying that's your sister who's just joined. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Stephen, it's nice to meet you. I've read about you, I know about you, but it's my first time face to face, so it's nice to meet you. And
Nice to
thank you
meet you
for
as
having
well.
me.
It's an absolute pleasure. I've seen you a few times on the High Vibe Tribe, but also I've never
Okay.
gotten the opportunity to meet you face to face. Well, digitally, but yeah. So this is going to be quite interesting. And I'm really excited to just hear a bit about your journey. About it. There's a couple of very pointed questions that I also want to ask about how you work, but I'm very excited to do that. But why don't you kind of tell our listeners all about you? Who is Susan Hayes behind Soul Activation? How did you get to where you are today?
Oh my goodness. If it's like most people, most light workers, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and all of it important, all of it related to help me to be where I am today so that I can empower other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to start when you say that, because it has been a journey, a lot of my own pain, emotional pain, physical pain, lots of experiences and events that have happened where I've attached those stories and created more pain in my life and in my body. However, because of those events, whether you want to see them quote unquote as traumatic or not, those events and those experiences have brought me to where I am today and have helped to expand my awareness, my evolution, and all that. And so, in that sense, I say now that I'm grateful, but when I was in that dark tunnel, I wasn't too happy.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. I can relate to that.
So I taught for 20 years, mostly young kids. That was what I first did. And near the end of those 20 years, I was like, you know, this is really getting stressful. I love kids. I love empowering and inspiring them. I recognize that when I really allow them to be authentically who they were meant to be and show up, and firm within that, they flourished. They flourished. It was about their attitude, a positive attitude, and being true to who they were and being okay with it. That was the number one aspect that I realized really allowed students to flourish. So that, you've got that background experience, but I was always like, you know what? I want to be able to reach more people, more children, more people in general. I just love people in general. And so I kept having, that was my vision, kind of the background. How can I have a global? So, you've got to let things go, welcome new opportunities in order for that to happen. So that job ended, and we won't get into the details of that. That's a whole nother story. And then I became a structural editor. We have 25 minutes, not 24 hours. So, and then within that, the next part of my life, I became a rehabilitative massage therapist. I worked with the cranium. I worked with the body, mind, spirit. I worked with the emotions, trapped emotions in people's bodies, physically and energetically. And it was amazing how clients who have these long-term conditions, or they could have been acute, could resolve them like that. It was amazing. With that said, there are always those like a soul purpose where the disease, this dis-ease is actually helping them to have a type of experience that they're wanting to have on a soul level, and an experience that is allowing other people to evolve. So there's no judgment with it. And so more recently, and I'm going to jump forward, my husband died. He had cancer for 3.5 years. It was a very difficult journey, but important. And that's where I just morphed into doing life coaching. And I published a couple of books, one for kids, one for adults, along with the guidance of my husband. So a lot of it's just, I don't have an identity, a label per se, because who I am keeps changing. Who I am keeps changing, and I don't want to limit myself.
So I love that you bring that up, Susan, because, a lot of what I've been having in terms of conversations over the last week or two, not on these interviews, but just like with my circle and that's been coming up a lot, has been the extension of human life. And the fact that, that people today are already, they're hitting 60, 70, and they're going, oh, I need to retire. And I'm saying, don't retire, because you're not going to be dead at 75 or 80. You're going to be living to 100 easily and with good quality of life. My generation is expecting to live to 130, 150. And I was looking up certain articles about this. And one of the key things that came out was, we're going to have to approach life in general, because you will have the opportunity to change your career at 60 if you wanted to. You're going to be able to do something completely different. And it's going to be so much more important now. You're not just going into college to get a degree so that you can get a mortgage, so that you can have 2.5 kids and waffle off the mortal coil at 70. You're now actually going to have to be choosing something that really, and you're going to have to be open to change. So I really like that you brought out that, you're not trying to put a label on this. You're changing, you're evolving, what did your sister say there? Morphic ongoing creation. I love that.
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love it. That's perfect. She's an inspirational rep, by the way. And you speak of, like, we talk about, yeah. So that just probably came right off the tongue for her. So when you talk about retiring, even that word retire, this has the word tire in it. It's like, why are we going to wait to live our life and to have fun? My husband died at the age he would have retired. Hello, if that didn't show me that, you know what? I'm not waiting. I'm going to have fun now. No.
Excellent.
We're supposed to live our life with joy now. And
yes.
We're saving all this money for retirement that we may not be guaranteed. And that's a choice. I'm not knocking it. It's a choice.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
So, okay. The one thing I do want to ask you a little bit about, and I'm bringing this up now because I'm not sure how broad a topic it is for you, and I know we are on a bit of a time crunch, of course, but you mentioned in your bio that you help people to reactivate DNA so that you unlock emotional trauma. Can you talk a little bit about that? What is that work that you do with people, and what are some of the I hate the term expectations because I feel like that's such a heavy label, but what can people expect from going through that kind of work with you?
But did you say, because you got cut off, did you say what can people expect going through a time of loss? Is that what you said?
No, sorry. What can people expect if they do that work with?
What they, I'm not, now I'm a healer. I facilitate healings, but what I learned through my husband's experience, I am not the healer. It is not my choice. I facilitate it. I show the way. I bring ease to whatever journey someone is choosing. My husband's journey was to allow me to be where I am today, to have this exponential spiritual growth, and for himself too. That was his choice on a soul level. And so he was healed by transitioning. And he had many healings along the way that is how it worked for me. And I felt like I brought ease. And that's what I was told. That's what he told me. I brought ease to the journey he had chosen. So I would say that if people are choosing to be healed, I can facilitate that. I can show them with the words of wisdom, the books, or the coaching with, I do a lot of activations and meditations that just bypass that conscious mind. So to help get at the root of where this illness may have been created or generated, or as I say, activated, and we can deactivate it. And a lot of times it's because of maybe some limiting belief systems, some fear or doubt, whether recently or long ago. A lot of times it's loops back to other dimensions, other realities that we may be living in. So it's helping to bring that awareness. And sometimes people don't even have the awareness, but they're able to heal anyways. And that's the really cool part. So it's tapping into that subconscious mind through the activations in the meditations and the words. So that's how I do it.
I love that because I feel, looking at my own journey and what I went through, it was a trying time because there wasn't anybody that I was working with to help facilitate that journey. So I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea how long certain experiences would last. It was just kind of blindly going through it, using certain tools and methodologies, sure. But I definitely think that having somebody to, and I love the phrase, guide on the side, not sage on the stage.
Yes.
Having somebody who's that guide on the side to just cheer you on and go, it's tough right now, but it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. And then, of course, knowing that that person is going to be able to shine that light out into the world once they get to that next level is just amazing, just incredible. So, yeah. So your sister here says, love that she boldly shares other realities. Yes, this helps create peace of mind with respect to events on the planet. Deep.
I don't know about you, Steve. I used to be afraid to talk certain talk because I felt like, oh, people are going to think I'm crazy, or they're going to be like, what am I talking about? And I've just recently let go of that and said, no, I need to be who I am, because if I think this way and Stephen does, I'm thinking Tracy and Priscilla and Susan, there's so many people that I'm meeting, then people, they have that awareness. And those who don't will probably not be guided to work with me or you, for example. And that's okay. There's somebody for everybody.
Exactly. And in my work, I mean, Yeah, hi, Margot. That's my friend Margot. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Margot, I like the
Um,
tag queen.
yes, it's the best.
Welcome.
So in my work, I find a lot of people come to me with I call it a semi-open mind. And by that I mean
Okay.
they know that certain paradigms exist, but they have a difficult time understanding it. And then the moment I go, okay, well, what is the paradigm you are comfortable with? And more often than not, it's either Christian or Islam. And I happen to be fairly well versed in both. And I'm able to then go, well, here's what it says in your holy book. So I may not be using words like quantum field, but I'm able to use different terminologies that they're more okay with. And then they go, oh my goodness.
Learned how to be
And I'm like, yes.
relatable and related to what they know. Okay. Yeah, I'm still
Yes.
learning that.
It can be difficult, but I grew up deeply Christian, and I still consider myself Christian as well. And one of the things that really struck me as a child was the Apostle Paul would say, "We must become all things to all men." So to the sinner I became a sinner, to the Greek I became a Greek.
Interesting
way of looking at the world in order to be able to explain fundamental truths. Because you and I can tell someone that the sky is blue, but if they've never seen the color blue before, that means nothing to them. So we have to learn how to do these different things, and that's just something that I'm learning over time. But yes,
I love your
absolutely,
because perception is reality. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yes?
Sorry, you were delayed, so I thought you were done or whatever. It froze, so I apologize. I love your analogy about the sky is blue, because you're right. If people haven't seen it, think about somebody who doesn't have the external eyesight. So how can they know it if they've never seen it? That is an incredibly great point. You're right. And so we're all on our journey. I'm still learning every day, and it's been a process, and I love it. So, and it's being okay that knowing that the journey never ends. So it's not like, oh, we're there now. It's like, no, it's not a destination. It's a journey, and we're just enjoying it as we go along. And it's finding that peace within, no matter what the storm is that we're experiencing, because we're going to have storms. But it's when you have the tools and you have the peace within, and you remove some of those maybe trapped emotions or old limiting belief systems, you're able to, no matter what's going on, you have that peace, you have greater trust. And so I liken it to like somebody like, we were supposed to have a hurricane supposedly. I'm like, no, we're not going to have it. Just missed us completely. And that just seems to happen in Miami. It's just easy. It's just, we have ease around here. Or even if, let's say we did, it'd be like somebody who loses electricity, is all alone, has no candles and flashlights. When you have the right tools, you have maybe lose electricity, still have your power. And maybe you have games to play, and you have flashlights and candles. Same storm, but different tools and greater ease. That's how I liken it.
Absolutely. I love that analogy. That is such a beautiful way of looking at it. And it is exactly that. The more you start to, as your sister said, understand how life works around you, you do have these tools to help you weather those storms a lot easier than those around you. So for sure, I think that is such a beautiful way to look at it. Now, I do have to ask you one other thing before we kind of get to the wrap-up portion. Something that I'm so I love that. But something that I was so excited to see is you do this work on the esoteric level, but then you also have one foot very much in the physical, because you work as a real estate agent. And I'd love to ask you, to people who are kind of coming into this journey and going, I want to explore, and I have to go live in a cave. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. what has your experience been like, doing both, doing the corporate world as well as the esoteric spiritual journey?
It's a great question. I'm still very new into that corporate kind of lifestyle and the salesy kind of thing in the real estate. And I actually took a step back from real estate. I'm learning all the courses, building a very strong foundation because of finishing up an online membership site and publishing a couple of books. However, as my sister calls it, positioning and preparation is key. And so the real estate, I was guided to do that. I meditated, I'm getting back into that, meditated, and it's been amazing on so many levels. And the way of I'm connecting people to a lifestyle and letting them know anything is possible. And I met somebody on the beach a couple weeks ago who said, I want to move here. I said, okay, I'm a real estate agent. I can help you with that. And she limited herself because of where she is in the present. That's where the esoteric part comes in. That's where when you understand the power of your potency and your creation, what's possible, you're like, okay, so where do you want to live? Well, I only can probably afford $1,500. I said, that's where you are right now, but what do you want? Do you want an apartment for $1,500, or do you want to be on South Beach in that building right there that has the pool, the gym, and it has an ocean view with a balcony or what? And she goes, oh, I want that. I said, but I can't. I go, whoa, you're saying I can't. I go, the first step is knowing you can have it and make a list, and the sky isn't even the limit. Look at how we're taught that the sky's the limit. I mean, I sense that the sky goes on, but technically it doesn't really. So it's like, I don't really like that saying, but anything is possible. So she just completely shifted. That's what I feel that I bring to the table. I mean, I'm living in South Beach, Miami, and people are like, oh yeah, okay, you just lost your husband, bills. You don't have good credit because of what happened last year with your husband and everything. And I'm like, well, it's what I want. It's going to happen. And it did. It did. And so I'm the story to show them, like, no, I wanted it happened against what would be considered against all odds. So, yeah.
And you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk, so that people can see. So you're actually a great mentor, because you're showing by your own actions what is possible. So that is beautiful.
Oh, my sister, what did my sister say? What
She says there, I believe Sue helps to bridge the gap in belief systems, guiding others to embrace new paradigms and greater possibilities.
Oh, she's
that is such an amazing gift. I love it because it's such a necessary thing, and people don't realize how much of a gap there is in their belief system. Because like you say, from a child, we're taught that the best you can do is the sky's the limit. Well, no, it's not, okay? The edge of the galaxy is not even the edge of what you're able to do. There's so much more out there. So absolutely, let's start to break down, or not break them down because they serve a purpose. Those belief systems absolutely do serve a purpose. But let's build bridges into new belief systems that are maybe a little bit less limiting for those who want them. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So it's helping them to shift a perspective and see a different possibility. And that's why I wear my glasses a lot. I mean, I love them, but Sorry, that call came in. Can you hear me?
Oh. Uh-oh. I can hear you now, yes.
Sorry.
No worries.
So I lost my train of thought what was my train of thought?
You were saying you wear your pink glasses because?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So the pink glasses, I think of, I like to see everything rosy, and everybody thinks, oh, she sees everything rosy. And it doesn't mean I don't acknowledge what's going on. It means I shift my perspective, again, going back to the storm, that despite the storm I'm in, I shift, I look at it from a different angle, I ask questions, and by doing that, I find greater peace, I find greater awareness. Whatever's going on, I'm able to have inner peace. For the most part, I'm human. I'm living this. I'm living this reality too.
Of course, you know, and that is the key. It's not that we expect that, oh, because we've gone down this path, that every day is going to be an absolute walk in the park. No, it's not. It's we have better tools to handle it, but we're still human. We're still going to have those days where something comes our way and we're just like, I just don't feel like dealing with this, and I'm gonna backslide for a day, and I'm just gonna be grumpy. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're still human. The trick is to be able to say today is gonna be a better day.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and not to have judgment with it.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so last but not least, Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit about the talk you're doing with the Wellness Lifestyle Conference that we're very excited to have. And, well, just for our listeners that may not know, the link, as usual, for the Wellness Lifestyle Conference is in my bio. So you guys can click through on that and get a ticket. And there are multiple freebies and prizes and giveaways that we have for people who take a picture of a snapshot of their ticket that they purchased, screen grab, send that through to us. You can win all kinds of things, so please do. And of course, get a chance to get your hands on Susan's talk as well. But why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So I talked about trapped emotions and being able to, you know, and how it's connected to dis-ease. And we even think of that word. We have ease or we have dis-ease. And well, I don't say it's one or the other, that duality, you know, it's along the spectrum. A lot of times, and what I do now, I have found that these trapped emotions often related to limiting belief systems, stories that people have attached to certain events in their lives, have locked in their bodies, and they're not aware of it. And so becoming aware of it, I do a lot of meditations and activations to tune in and talk to the body and tap in. And so with that awareness, a lot of times people are able to let go of those trapped emotions, particularly now because it's rising to this, we're vibrating so much higher and higher. And so it's like a fan, it just wants to kick it out. So they're like, hello, I'm knocking at the door. So the pain isn't a bad thing. It's alerting you and messaging you that you're not in alignment with your belief systems and all that, and that perhaps it's time to re-examine that and see what you can let go of. And so I use my husband's story as an example because he really, well, he had cancer, and we both learned so much from his cancer. So I share that story and how it was connected, that he from long ago, that had been programmed into his body, and that he kept looping back to and attracting circumstances to further kind of, that wound just kept reopening. You don't really heal, you know, like a wound, you don't really heal it if you haven't truly addressed the root of it and switch that habitual thought or pattern or release those emotions. So I talk about that, and then I run people through a quick and simple exercise that helps to just jumpstart that.
Fantastic. So that we are very excited. Yes, that is actually I think the biggest cause of disease is cognitive dissonance. Could not agree with you more. Using myself as a personal example. So yes. But okay, so we've got you on the Wellness Lifestyle Conference, as we said, which we're very excited about. And I see on your Instagram profile, you do have a link to all the various ways that people can get in touch with you. There's links to your websites, to your various social media profiles. So for everybody who's interested, I'm going to be obviously tagging Susan in this video. And you will be able to just click through to her profile and be able to see all the different ways you can get in touch with her, including if you are in South Beach, Miami, and need an apartment, please do get in touch. You won't have somebody more attuned to your real estate needs than our own soul activator. So please do get in touch.
Thank you.
Susan, it's been an absolute joy to speak with you today. Thank you so very much.
Thank
Do you
you.
have any? No, no, sorry. Please continue.
So I just wanted to say thank you so much to you, and thank you for those who are watching and going to watch later on. I really appreciate it. And for all those who are perhaps not in the physical who are joining us today, I'm just very, very grateful. I enjoyed talking with you, Stephen. I love the way you think. It's so cool to be able to share with people that, I don't want to say like-minded, even that. I mean, I just like talking to people in general, but I really like the analogies you use and the way you think. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's actually been such a pleasure. I mean, I say this to all my guests because it's true, but it's such a pleasure to have these conversations and also just remind myself that there are so many of us out there who are working to help heal the planet, essentially, heal humanity and get the ball rolling so that everybody can kind of do their best as well. So it's so good to meet like-minded people on their own journey. So thank you so very, very much. Enjoy the rest of the day. It is going into the evening here, so I'll be having dinner soon. But thank you so much for your time. It is super appreciative, super appreciated.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye,
Cheers,
Ian.
then.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Margot.
Bye.
Have a great day.